Today, I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2022 Genesis G70. And for this year, the G70 gets a pretty significant refresh, although not a complete redesign. The outside definitely looks different, more in line with a beautiful G80 and a GV80. Inside, subtle changes. So overall, how good is this brand new G70 and how does it compete within the luxury compact sedan segment? Well, keep watching and find out. Before I go for a drive, first, let me show you the outside and talk about all the latest tech and features on the inside. Now, starting with the outside, the G70 definitely looks like a brand new car. Take a look at the front end. Now you have that familiar diamond mesh grille that you see on a G80 and a GV80 that is now in front of a G70. And also look at those very distinctive and familiar headlights, the bi-level headlights that is off of a G80 and GV80 that is also now on the G70. The front end also looks pretty darn good with the stylish lower bumper and the very distinctive and sculpted hood. Now moving to the side, the G70 really didn't change. It still has that good, proper sports sedan stance and look, but there are new grille openings towards the bottom right behind the front wheels to add a bit of sportiness to the side profile. The wheels are 19-inch alloy wheels and they definitely give this G70 a good stance. Now you can see from the side there is no unpainted body panel. Everything is painted and the window surrounds is like a smoked chrome, which does add to the sportiness. Moving to the back end, you have brand new LED taillights, very similar to the headlights, and you have bi-levels, and again, looks very similar to the G80. Now, toward the bottom, you do see massive oval-shaped chrome exhaust tips that definitely pop out, and I love the Genesis badge just right in the middle of the trunk. Now, speaking of the trunk, if you look inside, it's a proper size with a full spare tire underneath. And if you wanted more cargo room, simply fold down the second row seats. Now, moving inside this G70, you can see the seats are covered in a beautiful white leather with color piping. They look absolutely fantastic, and they also feel fantastic too. Unfortunately though, the rear leg space and headroom is very, very lacking. I'm 5'10", and behind my sitting position up front, you can see I have no leg room and barely an inch of headroom. So if you are over 6 feet tall, you are not going to fit in the back of a G70. And passengers in the back do get a pair of vents and one USB port to share. Now moving up front, you can definitely tell the G70 has a nice and luxurious and stylish cabin. The use of leather and also aluminum throughout, and also you have a nice big brand new 10.3-inch screen in the middle. The center console and dash design steering wheel, they all look and feel fantastic. Now this G7 steering wheel is fantastic. It has the right look, right shape, the right thickness, and the leather feels really, really nice. You can see the buttons on the right side, which controls your adaptive cruise control and also your menu inside the gauge cluster. And on the left side is more for music and modes and also for voice control. You do see that there are paddle shifters inside this G70. Now moving to the gauge cluster, it's half digital, half analog. On the left side, the speedometer is analog. On the right side, the tachometer is digital. And of course, you can scroll through menu items. For example, your safety systems, your compass, your digital speedometer, and you can go up and down to see more menu items, such as your trip computer, your drive info, oil temperature, engine temperature, tire pressure, and all that good stuff. Now, the biggest change on the inside is this brand new 10.3-inch infotainment screen. It used to be 8-inch, now has been upgraded to 10.3-inch, and as you can see, it is very, very responsive. There's no lag whatsoever. The resolution is quite high, and it's just very easy to use your fingertips to scroll wherever you want, to go into setup, to go into maps, navigation, anything that you want. And you also do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in here. Underneath, you do have a volume knob, a scroll knob, and some big buttons to quickly navigate inside the infotainment system. And then you have climate controls underneath. You do get 3 levels of heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and of course, dual climate control. Underneath, you have a 12V outlet, a USB port, and wireless charger pad. The shifter is almost normal, except there is a button for park. That's about it, but the reverse is on top and drive is on bottom. And of course, you can utilize their paddle shifters if you wanted to also. There are several drive modes, starting with Eco, then Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Custom. And these not only change the throttle, but they also adjust your seats and adjust the exhaust noise too. And if you're backing up, you get a 360 sensor view of around your G70 and of course what's behind you, but this one is not equipped with a bird's eye 360 view. On top, you have some HomeLink buttons and a pretty big sunroof. All right, I'm behind the wheel. Let's see how good this brand new G70 is, and let's see how it drives. First impression of this G70 is you have a really snug cabin. I think that's by design. Of course, this G70 is categorized within the luxury compact sedan segment, which means it competes with the likes of the BMW 3 Series, the Audi A4, and also the Lexus IS. So it's in that same ballpark. And when you get inside, you do feel very, very snug. Now I'm sitting, quite low in the cabin already, but I do feel like the windshield, it's very raked. Also, the door panels are quite high, so the windows are not as big. Also, rear visibility, the same thing. And I do feel very, very snug within these seats. So Genesis, I think, put a lot of emphasis to make you feel snug because it does give you that sporty vibe. And for some of you guys, I think you'll enjoy that. When you sit inside and you're driving around, you feel like you're inside a sports sedan. And when equipped with a 3.3 liter turbo engine like this one is, it really is a sports sedan. But it can be a con for some people. If you're on the bigger side, if you're on the taller side, if you're expecting loads of headroom in here, an apartment-like interior space, you're unfortunately not going to get that with the G70. Now, right now I am driving in comfort mode, which means it's a very relaxing drive. The steering has a good weight, a little artificial feeling, but overall I think it's pretty good. Also, this G70 has terrific suspension. I mean, it's really nice. It's a good balance between sporty and comfort. For the most part, I don't really feel much of the bumps or imperfections, and I still have that controlled feeling, which is good. What's also good is the sound installation in here. Right now I'm parked at a light, but there's a lot of cars just going by right now. A lot of cars, you guys can see a lot of cars going by. I almost can't hear them. It is ridiculously quiet in here. It's really, really, really quiet. And also in comfort mode, the exhaust is muted. So there's really not much coming from the engine or the exhaust right now. However, if you do change the mode to Sport or Sport Plus, the exhaust really opens up. Now, does it sound like a V8? No, it does not, because it's not a V8, but I will test that in a little bit, and I wanted to test out acceleration because this optional 3.3 liter turbo engine is producing a monstrous 365 horsepower and 375 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of power within a luxury compact sedan. So I'm gonna test that a little bit. But yeah, right now, just going down local roads, it's just really quiet, really comfortable. I feel really nice, feel in control. Genesis did a really good job tuning kind of like everything to flow really well together. As I'm coming to a stop, the brake catches on pretty quickly, or I should say a little bit quicker than normal. It was a pretty linear feel until a certain point, and then the G70 came to a stop really quick. So the brakes takes getting used to, but overall isn't too bad. The fit and finish in here is near the top of this class. I mean, pretty much anywhere you could feel on the dash, center console, door panels, is soft material or leather. And it looks beautiful too. It's a beautiful design. Although Genesis, they fake you out in a couple of spots. For example, the door handles, they look aluminum, they look great, but you touch them and they feel plastic. So there are a few places, and underneath the center console is also hard plastic. So there are a few places Genesis cheapened, but for the most part, this is a really nice, well-designed cabin and looks and feels fantastic. Now, I mentioned this cabin being snug. Unfortunately, these seats, I feel like, are a bit too snug. So the back bolster is very, very aggressive. The bolster part on either side is very aggressive. I feel like it's really trying to pinch my back, and it's causing me to sweat quite a lot, even with the ventilated seats on all the way. But overall, I think it's still good enough. It's still comfortable enough where I'm not complaining that it's really uncomfortable. But the bottom, that's where I have the problem. The thigh support on the left side here, it's very aggressive and it sticks out quite a lot, and it's very, very rigid. So it's really cutting into my left thigh. It's like sitting right underneath my left thigh, forming a T shape. And it doesn't matter how much I move over, I can't. My hips and thighs are just that big. And it's very, very uncomfortable. All right, so I just changed the drive mode to sport. Immediately, I felt a thrust. The throttle is a bit more aggressive. The rev went up a little bit slightly, and the exhaust got louder. So yes, this G70 does tweak the exhaust. The more sporty the drive mode is, the louder the exhaust is. So I could definitely hear it. And the throttle, yeah, it's a lot more aggressive. It's more fun. It definitely livens up this G70. The steering also feels like it got tighter. So Sport actually changed a lot of things. It changed a lot of things. The exhaust got louder, the throttle's more aggressive, right? It takes a little bit longer to shift. That's on purpose by design. And also the steering, I feel like, got a little bit tougher, right? So that's a lot. That's a lot. And that's Sport. So in a little bit, let me try Sport Plus. All right, let's test out acceleration. Okay, so I was in Sport Plus. You could probably still hear the exhaust. The exhaust is very, very loud in Sport Plus. But it was okay. There was slight lag at the beginning, and then when the turbos, you know, hit their peak torque, then this G70 really started moving. You know, this engine, optional engine, produces 365 horsepower, 375 pound-feet of torque. This also is all-wheel drive, right? And 0 to 60 is about 4.5 seconds, which isn't too shabby, but not the quickest. Not the quickest, but it's up there. It's up there. But at the beginning, right off the bat, there was slight turbo lag, unfortunately. Now, since I'm in Sport Plus, things have gotten more sporty. The seats even got more aggressive. I didn't know that Genesis did this, but this G70's back bolster now squeezes my back even more. The steering seems to have gotten a little bit more tight, although it's not super heavy, but just a little bit tighter. And also the exhaust definitely got louder. Ooh. Yeah, you could hear that. You could hear that, but like I said before, it doesn't sound like a V8, but it does sound like a very aggressive 6-cylinder, which is what this is. Now, when you're just cruising along, going like this, going straight, Sport Plus doesn't feel very good because each gear holds the revs a bit too high. So it just feels like the car wants to shift and it's not shifting, you know. So if anything, if you wanted a sportier drive, go into Sport. Sport Plus is a little bit too much. But there is one more. There is one more called Custom, so that you can customize the drive completely. But what really gets me about Sport Plus is the back bolsters actually get more aggressive and squeeze your back more. I don't think I've tested another car that did that. Not even luxury cars. Not even the BMWs and Audis I tested did that. So that's actually really unique. Yeah, there's plenty of torque. Even in comfort mode, if you put your foot down, this G70 does take off like a rocket ship. Next up, let me summarize the good and bad to this brand new G70 so you can decide if this is the right luxury compact sedan for you. To sum up, the brand new 2022 Genesis G70 is a fantastic luxury sports sedan that sets itself apart from the German and Japanese counterparts. The exterior styling is refreshing and the interior is top-notch. The G70's optional 3.3-liter turbo engine provides plenty of power around town, and overall drive is comfortable and quiet. The G70 gives you plenty of control and plenty of driving modes to suit all needs. The new larger screen on the inside is also a big upgrade. The bad to the G70 includes the cramped second row seats, the aggressive thigh supports up front, and lack of USB ports. The official pricing at G70 ranges from $38,000 all the way to $54,000. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest car reviews. Also, check out these luxury sedans.